tooltips on top of your plots so that whenever you hover over them, you will be able to see particular value of the data points. So for that, all you need to do is write tooltips, and this is the particular variable which will store all the tips that you want to show. And over here, write the tooltips that you are going to use. So whenever you have a compound ID variable, you will go to the data frame and access the column compound ID. Similarly for this, PIC50 and molecular weight. So whenever we hover over a particular data point, we will be able to see all these three related to that particular data point. So when we run this and then hover over some dot, we can see the compound ID as well as the PIC50 value and the molecular weight of that particular data point. Additionally, CHEMBL also provides us a provision of visualizing every chemical information in the form of a SVG file. So we can actually visualize every chemical compound as a chemical formula. So in order to access this information, all we need to do is include this URL into a tooltip command. So when we write a tooltip, this is a default structure of the HTML code that we need to provide. And we give the link of the HTTP ABI, this link, with the @cmpid.cvg. This allows us to visualize this particular compound image inside the plot so that when you run the entire cell, so yeah, do not forget to include this line over here with the p figure function. When you run this, you will be able to see the chemical formula for every chemical that you hover over. Of course, you can also change the height, width, and also align how the picture should be placed within the particular cell using the style function over here. And you can provide the border. So over here, we only have a 2 pixel width of the border. Moreover, we have also provided a little provision of writing the compound ID below the image, which you can modify with some other text also, but writing this is sufficient. And then the rest of the text is basically styling the field name and modifying the color. So this code is also available and free to use. Now suppose that we have to pan and zoom across two similar looking graphs. We can simply set them side by side using the following code. So if I have this particular section, I'm just going to copy from P1 and paste it with P2. And suppose I only take out the bases from the 5 molecular species that I had. So I can provide one more function over here. It would be x range is equal to p1 dot x range. This will basically allow me to have a similar x and y axis as the first graph. And then I simply provide the source as the data frame, which has a filtered molecular species as the base. And then I can use the grid plot function, which we can import from bokeh.layout. Also provide this particular line of code to both the figures so that we can have a visible plot. So as you can see, we get a much clearer looking graph for the molecular species and then for the only base provision.